Let's talk about shoulder stiffness versus shoulder pain and what you need to do to address which problem. Let's talk about shoulder stiffness versus shoulder pain and what you need to do in order to address one problem versus the other problem. So in order to determine a stiff shoulder from a painful shoulder, first we need to describe what is normal. So normal shoulder range of motion overhead would be being able to bring your arm to this 90-degree angle and then have it go past a little bit. That's ultimately where your shoulder should be able to go. So in order to define that term, or we need to define that term before we decide what's stiff and what's painful. So a stiff shoulder may be a shoulder that instead of being able to get all the way back there and breaking that plane of 90 degrees, it may only be able to get here. Now, if the only thing you feel in that position is a little bit of tightness and that tightness is up front, you likely have a stiff shoulder. The other thing you need to ask yourself if you have a stiff shoulder and you want to work on it is, what are your goals? If you don't need range of motion that comes way back here, then you may not actually need to do anything about your stiff shoulder at all. You may just be allowed to let it be stiff. But if it's getting in the way of something that you're trying to do, a shoulder exercise, maybe an overhead squat, a push press, if you can't lock your shoulder out and it's different from the other side, then you might want to do some stretches to try and loosen that up. So now what we can do is we can delineate that stiffness from pain. All right? So typically a shoulder that is painful and stiff, or maybe not stiff at all, as you try to get into that position, it won't get to that normal range, and instead of just having a tightness up front, you might get a shooting pain, and that pain can either go on the inside of the bicep, down the arm, or into your shoulder blade or upper trap. That pain is usually like sharp, it can be a little achy, it can be dull. Once you get out of the motion, sometimes that pain will even linger. Those are signs that you have shoulder pain, and that is a problem that actually needs to be addressed before you start to stretch a tight or what you would think would be a stiff shoulder. Because if you continue to stretch something that is actually painful, you're actually tugging on some of those structures and you may actually create more of a problem than you already have. Thanks for checking out our YouTube video. If you like the kind of content that we're producing and you feel like it's helpful, please click the link below and subscribe to this video. If you're struggling with pain or any sort of problem, performance issues, feel free to reach out. You can go to our website at p3physio.com, or you can schedule a call with one of our doctors by clicking the link on the website. Hope to see you soon.